I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. Today, we're here to review the new album from a band called Converge. And the album is called All We Love Will Leave Behind, or We Leave Behind. You know, that's a really good album title. I really got, from the moment, honestly, I'll just come out and say it. I've never listened to Converge before. Never, ever in my life. And so I heard that, and Tom was describing it to me, and I heard the album title, All We Love, We Leave Behind, and I was like, holy crap, that's, I'm just excited to hear what this band has in store. So, and then I found out I get in and just blasted with just this wall of sound. It's just guitars and bombastic drums and thrashy, just not really like shrieking, not guttural, but just, just like a just kind of hard,
intense, throaty,
vocals. And and it just screamed, just hardcore, mathcore, lots of, crazy rhythms and crazy time signatures. I ate it up, and something that I found through Velocities in Music and through Tom's constant presence in my music listening is that I really like heavy music that is complicated and unorthodox and serves a purpose. And I think that just in that first track, Aimless Arrow, Converge comes out and makes a statement, and I really kind of just took off from there. Now, describing this sound, Tom, you're a rock musician. What are some things that Converge does that makes this kind of an interesting take on rock music, on hardcore music?
Well, there's just obviously the pure aggression here.
Oh, yeah.
And that comes out in every facet of the sound, as you described, the bass, guitar, drums, vocals, every single aspect. So there's all that, with the fact that while this is definitely metal, I'd say, you can't listen to this and say that there's not metal there, but there's also just a very much punk element driving it.
And there's some
thrash punk, hardcore punk.
There's even some sludge in there too.
Yeah, every now and then.
Absolutely.
The closest thing I can think of is maybe a mix of like Torch and the Dillinger Escape Plan.
Absolutely.
Those two bands I see a little bit in here, but then again, I'm making comparisons to bands that are really almost contemporary, have come out since this band has been around for a while. They're very prolific.
Yep.
They have a lot of material, and consistency is their thing. I don't think they've really put out anything bad.
Right.
I've taken the time to listen to quite a bit of their older work.
So you balance each other out like that.
Yeah, there you go. You got the fresh take. I have a little more history on these guys. But if consistency is these guys' name, they definitely follow through on All We Love, We Leave Behind. And from every element, from the songwriting, from the instrumentation, from the production. Let me talk about the production. The guitarist produced this album. I think he did a fantastic job. Now, production is not a one-size-fits-all, right or wrong kind of thing. It really depends on the songwriting, on the style, and how you want to bring that out, what parts you want to emphasize.
Right.
Good production for one album is not going to be good production for another album. You have to make it fit the sound. And here these guys went for a very raw, very visceral feel in the production, yet somehow at the same time, it doesn't feel underproduced. And anytime I say that something sounds a little raw, it almost seems like I'm saying that it's underproduced or not produced as well as it could be. But really here, I mean it in the best way possible. I mean that it brings out all the natural grit, all the natural aggression that's in the sound. They perfectly complemented that.
Right. I think so too. And I think it comes down to just fantastically written guitar parts too, in the songwriting, and a good variety. This album is like 38 and a half minutes long, and by the end of it, you don't feel like it's too long, and you also don't feel like it's too short. So they had a lot of tact in how they crafted this as an album listen. Now, there's 14 tracks on this album. If there were 14, or if there were 20, or if there were 1, it wouldn't matter to me, because the way that these songs flow into one another, it is just incredible. It doesn't matter where the track starts or where it ends. It flows as an album. They designed it to do so, and it just, the effect is great. And that's one thing that I really got behind. Eventually, because I love this album so much, I think I'm going to have to leave it behind someday. Never mind.
Oh, God. That was bad.
But the album flow was something that, once I realized that how they were composing this album, it really made me realize that these were very experienced musicians. They were very experienced at writing music and crafting albums. To add to that, they have so much variety in just within their tracks, how the tracks sprawl all over the place, and then they have good pacing as far as not putting just hardcore. They have some softer tracks in there that gets a little bit more sludgy, a little bit more atmosphere gets built in, and it's a really nice dynamic contrast. And I think that, you know, whenever you have dynamic contrast like that in any genre of music, it's easier to attach to, it's easier to relate to, because the highs are higher and the lows are lower, and it's something that just resonates with you. So that's something that Converge did really well on this album, and I gotta say, you know, just all around kind of blown away by it. I think I'm going 85 on this one.
Awesome. I'm actually going to go a little lower than you. I'm going 81. I do want to say, though, that, you know, I made the comparison to Torch earlier, and Torch released earlier this year Harmonicraft, which I ended up loving even more than I did at the time. And I had the one big complaint about it is something that I kind of feel about Converge's All We Love We Leave Behind as well. And that's that while I love this album as a full experience, just listening to it straight through, I didn't feel like there were enough individual moments that really jumped out at me. Now, you had a lot of track picks here. That might be where the difference in our scores comes in.
But the title track 13, as a way to like almost close the album, oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great track. I just didn't feel like there were enough of those moments. But at the same time, I thought that about Torch, and I ended up liking that album so much more. So I'm going 81, but that's just where I'm at now. I almost expect to like this album more in the future.
Folks, I put money on the fact that before it's all said and done, Tom will love this more than I do. I know this guy, been, you know, best friends for over a decade now. I mean, it's gonna happen. He's gonna love it. I just know it's gonna happen.
You know me better than I know.
I do. I mean, I know you. Well, let's not go there. We're just gonna stop this before it gets dirty. So overall, 83 from us. We really like this album. Probably, you know, it is a grower. The more I listen to it, the more I like it. So, and a great album all around. So tell us what you think. What's your favorite Converge album? And let us know at www.velocitiesandmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesandmusic. As always, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and join in our conversation, because you guys make up VIMTV. You guys help decide what albums we review. You help give feedback on what we should do with Velocities and Music, our website, everything that we do, you're a part of. So thanks for your contributions. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.